welcome to the Tiny Life Stories podcast. I'm Ashley, one half of the account, Our Unbound Life. We're the Carlsons, a family of 3 who decided to live tiny. We're in our mid-20s and moved into camper life full-time this February 2020. We are from the upper Midwest and currently in Largo, Florida for now. We met other families traveling on the road, and we have an amazing community online. Our goal is to share the stories of all the wonderful families that we have met and enjoyed hearing their experiences. Today I will be sharing the story of the Walls family. Alexis and her husband, along with their 2 adorable children, live in Texas in a 5th wheel. Their journey began when her and her husband met 9 years ago in college and decided to move into a travel trailer in 2013. They spent their first 2 years of marriage in that same travel trailer. Their initial plan was to do so temporarily, but as Alexis said, we went from temporary to this is life for us now. What drew them to tiny living initially? Alexis said, I've always loved tiny homes, and my husband really likes RVs and outdoorsy things. They also had a desire to get out of debt, and they will soon be debt-free. It's also nice living tiny because you don't have the anxiety of breaking a lease, which was also appealing to them. The feeling of ownership is what motivated them to get into this lifestyle. And I have to say personally for Mike and I, when we purchased our camper, it was incredible having the feeling of buying a home for less than what most people spend just month to month on rent. So what was their thought process when they were purchasing one? They purchased their 5th wheel, and they wanted one large enough for their son Thomas to have his own room and a good-sized living space. It took them less than 2 months to decide on one, and they bought it at an RV store after hunting at RV shows and expos. So I asked Alexis what was a funny part of their journey, and she said, learning how to pack and back in, it really strengthens our marriage. And I have to say, that is definitely a learning curve. Packing everything into your camper and then also backing it in is, initially I was terrified because I mean, driving a truck for me is kind of a big rig anyway, but then when we had to back up into different campsites, it can be a little intimidating. Thankfully, Mike grew up on a farm, so he has always been familiar with large trailers and tractors. So I asked Alexis what kind of travels they do and how they support the lifestyle. And she said her husband's job has been really nice. He works as a construction liaison. And her favorite part of this lifestyle is the spontaneity, which is just really nice, being able to have a life filled with variety and kind of a constant change if that's what you want. For Alexis, she says the best part of this life is the convenience, the sense of ownership, and getting to be creative. And I have to say, if you search those hashtags, the before and after pictures in RV living, you will see thousands of beautiful transformations. It's actually kind of addicting to see how drastic a space can change, whether it's an entire renovation or even just simple paint and adding your own personal touches such as photos and flowers or something really simple. So if you want to go check it out, Our Unbound Life is our RV handle for Instagram. And we actually took out the couch initially. We took out the dinette because once Mike took those out, we were going to kind of, fix the flooring. But once he took those out, I was like, this space is huge. And for having children, well, we have 1 baby right now, but even so, it makes it such an open space. So that'll be, that's kind of important for some people, is to have that open feeling. So that was our experience with that. So when it comes to parking, they enjoy staying at RV parks and resorts and checking out the touristy areas. Alexis said she needs a grocery store nearby. And I actually have a funny story on that. When we moved to Florida, people are like, why did you do that? And half of the reason is Publix. I'm not sure if they have those in Texas, but it's one of the best grocery stores I've ever been to. So I asked Alexis, what's some advice you have for folks interested in this lifestyle. And she said, look at several brands and models of RVs and campers, because there are a lot of different options and different floor plans. And she said she wanted one with a bedroom for her son, as well as one for herself. So there's just a lot of variety. She also recommends to physically walk through them. Looking online is great, but there's only so much that you can learn from it. You won't know until you walk in. She said maybe spend a weekend in one through Airbnb, and just, that's another great way to get the feel for it. There's actually a tiny house village in Orlando, Florida, a little bit north of there, and you can actually rent it for a weekend or a week, and you can actually stay in the tiny homes and get a feel for it. And then there actually are people who are full-time RV living or tiny house living there too. So if you want to know more of Alexis and her family and to check them out, her Instagram handle is @tinywallsfamily. And I just want to say thank you, Alexis, for sharing your family's incredible journey. You have shown how this lifestyle is possible, even with little children, and it can be a life full of contentment and fulfillment. And honestly, that's what we're all looking for in this lifestyle, is we want to be able to live on less and to enjoy everything that we have, but not having an overabundance. So I really appreciate it, because she talks about living a minimalist lifestyle. She shares a lot of her workout routines, her food, what she eats. She even has an RV tour on her stories. So go check her out. She shares daily in her life, and she's just really real and honest about what it's like. There are a lot of people who, even myself, try to post really nice pictures, and she shares the reality of it. It's crazy but amazing. So thank you for listening. I'm sorry this one was a little short. I'm recording this right now while Callie is asleep, so trying to make sure I fit these in during her nap times. So thank you for listening, and until next time, keep living that life unbound.